How's everyone doing? I said, how's everyone doing? Gosh. Well, my name is Tennille, if you did not know. And I'm just gonna start. Okay. So, I want to start by saying that this topic means a lot to me. When researching this, I found it to be quite difficult trying to support my argument. And it turns out that not a lot of people discuss this, which frustrates me because of how important this conversation is. Now, although I only have a few minutes to discuss, I hope it piques your interest at least a little bit. I would also like to add that I definitely don't speak for everyone. This occurrence has been something I have seen in my own life with friends, or I simply witnessed as it came across to me. So I hope I don't come off as rude and you all just simply see this as an observation that I have made. Now, I want you to picture 3 young teenagers in your head. It doesn't matter the age or appearance. And the first kid I'd like you to envision went to church their whole life. They got saved at this church and has a large faithful support group. The second kid doesn't go to church too often, maybe like major holidays. They got saved and has 2 to 3 people supporting them or helping them as they grow in their faith. And the last kid does not go to church. They got saved at maybe like a church event that one of their friends invited them to, but has nobody to talk to or rely on, and just grows simply on the grace of God. These 3 teens are going to be important throughout my sermon, so just hold on to them. My main idea is, of course, the Christian youth, but the large decrease in their population in recent days. Now, the big question is why, but here's your answer. They are not getting the guidance that they deserve. Maybe your initial thought is, no, they're just teens who don't care about anyone or anything but themselves. And maybe you're right, maybe they don't. But even if it's their job to put in the work of growing in their faith, it's our responsibility as believers to teach them that Jesus is the one they should care about. Proverbs 22:6 says, "Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it." Now, think of it as though when you were raising your children, you wanted them to grow up knowing their manners. It's the same thing. These teenagers are new at this, and they're weak, and we have to raise them up knowing God. For example, I will share my story. I was saved and baptized at the age of 12. I was sure it was the right thing to do, and it was. I don't regret it. But I got baptized, and then I just went on with my life. I had no idea what the next move for me was in this process, and to be honest, I still kind of don't. I thought it would make my life so much easier, which turned out to be devastating in the long run. Because when God asked you to be his child, he did not say it would be easy. I didn't have much of anyone to talk to about my struggles and conflicts, and I wasn't comfortable enough to do that, really. I mean, I'm sure you all know talking to adults, let alone my parents, which is not gonna happen. So, then we also stopped attending church for a while, which really threw me off as well. Nobody checked up on me, so I basically just gave up once I went to high school. I mean, being 12 and trying to figure out who I was, literally and spiritually, took a toll on me. We obviously came back to church at some point, but it just wasn't the same for me. I had no support, no influences, that I started doubting my salvation. I became depressed and angry, and I did stupid stuff that I regret and still struggle with daily. The idea of just church annoyed me, and I started to believe particular arguments against the belief of God, and I knew then and there that I needed to check myself. One Sunday during early mid-2018, Autumn and Kat actually introduced this amazing lesson to the youth group called Jesus is Greater Than Religion, I think. Okay. And that just shut me up completely about all of my misconceptions on the Christian religion. It even brought me back to Christ. Now, my own story just shows you that a little can go a long way. The teen that got saved, surrounded by people who love and support them, ends up to be a strong Christian, wise in their ways. The second kid may have their struggles, but they always had someone to talk to. But the last kid, without a heavy influence, they could easily give up, and that scares me, knowing that there are teenagers just like that third kid, confused and alone, that they could so easily give up on their relationship with God. Now, all three teens are vulnerable of slipping in their faith. However, a spiritual support group can go a long way. Ecclesiastes 4:9-12 says, "Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity one who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken." It really just makes you think, how many young people are going through what I did? How many adults? A lot of coming-of-age stories as a Christian are that they became faithful at an adult age. How are the adults supposed to lead the youth when even they don't know who they really are? And the real question is, which teen are you? Thank you.
Amen.